10-20.
Week 8 and the halfway point of the NFL's regular season is highlighted by an important interconference affair. An old-fashioned shootouts on tap in Dallas as the Dolphins meet the Cowboys. One of 3 co-leaders in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs today renew a classic rivalry. They are in the Bay Area to take on the defending champion Raiders. Tied with the Chiefs and Broncos and sharing the lead in the West are the San Diego Chargers. In Chicago today, they'll face the troubled Bears. And out at Shea Stadium, the streaking Jets go against the Seattle club they've never beaten. Those games, a look at football shotgun explosion, scores and highlights of earlier games, and commentary from Newsweek's Pete Axtell, all today on NFL 81. 8th Sunday of the season, so let's try to get you caught up on just what is happening around the league. Out in Buffalo, Rich Stadium, Denver Broncos and the Bills are going at it. Defensive affair in the 4th period. The Broncos are clinging to a 1-point lead. It was Fred Steinfurt that tried to bust the scoreless deadlock early on in the ball game, but Buster Barnett blocked the 48-yard field goal attempt to keep it at 0-0. It stayed that way until Craig Morton cranked it up and found the man who has become his favorite receiver, Steve Watson, with a 36-yard scoring strike, 10th touchdown pass for catch of the year for Watson. Just before the half ended, Nick Mickelmeyer kicked a field goal of 41 yards. They broke for the half at 7-3. In the 4th period, Mickelmeyer has kicked another one from 46 yards, but Buffalo still trailing by a point. That ball game about midway through the 4th period. The New England Patriots are going against the Washington Redskins in the rain at RFK, and right now the Redskins are surprising the Patriots. The score in that ball game stands at 24-22. Ron Earhart's club jumped in front 6-0 on a pair of field goals by John Smith of 25 and 22 yards. But then Theismann threw one to Joe Washington, 13-yard strike, moved Washington out in front by a score of 7-6. That didn't last long. Tony Collins, finding good blocking, takes it in. Patriots go in front 12-7. After a field goal made it 15-7, this punt to Washington brought down the 25 was Nelms. Nelms takes it down the left sideline, says goodbye to the folks behind him. Touchdown. Moves the Redskins to within a point. It was 15-14 at the half. And then Theismann giving on a broken play right here, finding his way around the right side and taking it in to move the Redskins out in front 24-15. But the Patriots have just come back. Sam Cunningham, this is the man the Patriots really needed last year. He takes it in for about 2 yards out, and the Patriots, who came into this ball game at 2-5, trail the 1-6 Redskins by a score of 24-22. That one is in the 4th period. The Baltimore Colts defense allows over 32 points every Sunday they take the field. They're keeping form today. Today it's Brian Sipe that's enjoying the advantage against the Colts. The Browns are beating up on Baltimore 35-21. McCormick's troops have lost 6 straight. They're on their way to 7. This is Sipe's 3rd touchdown pass of the game. He threw a 1-yarder to Newsome, a 22-yarder to Greg Pruitt. That was a 40-yarder to Dave Logan. Had Cleveland in front 21-0. And then Burt Jones to Curtis Dickey made it 21-7. Here's a strange play the Colts score on. Mike Wood tries a field goal. It's blocked. Reese McCall picks it up. He knows he's got bad hands, so he laterals to Robert Pratt. He knows he can't run, so he throws it to Greg Landry. Landry takes it in for a 20-yard score, 28-14. Then Burt Jones tried to get the Colts close. Working with a bad group, throws a 36-yard touchdown pass to Raymond Butler. This got them to within a touchdown. But Brian Sipe is enjoying a fine afternoon, and who wouldn't against the Colts secondary. Sipe with his 4th touchdown pass of the day. This one to Ricky Feature to move the Browns out in front of Baltimore by a score of 35-21. At last word, Sipe had put the ball in the air 31 times, completed 22 of those passes for 380 yards and 4 strikes against what is clearly a bad Baltimore Colts defense. Last week, the Philadelphia Eagles suffered their first loss of the year. They are trying to rebound today at Veterans Stadium. They're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and having all they can handle from the Bucs. Philadelphia out in front of that ball game 10-7 in the 4th period. The Giants going against Atlanta down in Georgia today, and that ball game is deadlocked. Well, now the Giants have just moved in front, we understand, in the 4th period by a score of 24-17. The 2-5 Cardinals playing at home in St. Louis are going against the 5-2 Vikings, and right now the Cardinals are getting the better of it. They're out in front of the Vikes by a score of 20-10. Vikings still looking for another miracle finish out of Tommy Kramer. That ball game has a ways to go. It's still in the 3rd period. And the Detroit Lions are playing at home. They're in the Silver Dome going against the Green Bay Packers. Eric Hipple at the controls again for the Lions. He has the Lions out in front of the Packers by a score of 24-13. The Pack's Lynn Dickey injured his back in that game. David Whitehurst has come on. And Cincinnati and New Orleans, well, they're putting people asleep down in the Superdome. In the third quarter, that ball game is scoreless. There was a time when a man's word was as good as his handshake was as good as a contract. Is it true today? We'll find out when we come back.
Left in the fourth quarter.
Sports are going on at the same time, and while they have different objectives, they do share one common problem: the enormity and sanctity of contracts. Byron Day reports.
It's not an epidemic yet, but there are many athletes in all sports seeking to renegotiate or break contracts. Toronto Blue Jay Danny Ainge is an example. After playing with the Jays for a year, he wanted to break his contract to play pro basketball. It went to court. When an athlete breaks a contract or tries to renegotiate one, that raises many legal questions. In some people's mind, it raises many questions of morality as well.
I think that the public views it more seriously than lawyers do. It's always the case, I've discovered, that laymen are more legalistic than lawyers. And lawyers who are used to this sort of thing tend to not be particularly alarmed by a breach of contract. The public perhaps has a higher sense of ethics about agreement.
John Jefferson had a $100,000 a year contract with the Chargers. He sought to renegotiate, claiming that as an all-pro receiver, he was worth more than he was getting in the 9-year contract that he signed right out of college. When the Chargers balked, Jefferson refused to play, breaking his contract.
It was a 1-year contract, so in a way, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just didn't play, and if I didn't play, I didn't get paid, and I wasn't getting paid, and I wasn't arguing about it.
Maybe long-term contracts are not what they should be. Maybe you shouldn't sign a 6, 7, or 8-year contract. Maybe you should go for 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe that's the way. I can't truthfully say that we're right in everything we do. We live and we learn, and as long as a contract is a contract, maybe we write them for 3 or 4 years and see what happens in 3 or 4 years. And maybe the long-term contracts are a thing of the past.
I agree with that, and I think you're saying it in basketball now. We have a case in point with the Knickerbockers where we started out to build a really young team and really started out to do it on a 5-year basis. And we found that the players just are not anxious to stay that long or want to renegotiate beyond our ability to pay. And consequently, really, I think in basketball you find that the teams are being built for season by season.
Father Christopher Mooney of Fairfield University is a priest, a lawyer, and a former assistant dean of the University of Pennsylvania Law School. I asked him about the moral questions raised by broken contracts.
Well, I think, again, it's important to keep the general principle in mind. What we are concerned about is justice in society. Not only the importance of people keeping promises, but also the importance of justice being done to people. One of the serious justifications for breaking a contract morally is that an element in the contract, original contract, is changed, and therefore the contract ought to be renegotiated.
Well, renegotiation is a word that nobody seems to like very much. I think that most owners, I believe, if a man exceeds their expectations, would readjust his contract or readjust his remuneration. I don't think that anybody that I know of in sports is being particularly negatively about playing anybody. I think it's the man who, just by sheer circumstance, that drives you up the wall as far as wanting more money because he thinks he's vital to the team and may not be as vital to the team.
There are circumstances where anybody would think that it was outrageous to breach a contract, but other circumstances where we'd feel that morality calls for it to be negotiated. I think with regard to ball players, that the real outrage comes less from the law, from the notion that they're trying to get out of a contract, than it does from what may be viewed as a kind of a breach of the athletic ethic, that ball players ought to be committed to their teams, and that once they've put themselves on the line, they ought to hold to their commitment.
Professor Jack Gedman just may be right, because here in this federal courthouse in Manhattan, a jury upheld the Toronto Blue Jays contract with Danny Ainge. So the 12 men and women of the jury just may reflect the view of society that once a man signs a contract, it's binding. I'm Byron Day, NFL 81.
In these modern times, when it's not uncommon to see a quarterback throw for over 300 yards on a Sunday, one can't help but wonder how old number 9 would have fared. Sonny Jurgensen, the subject this morning of our kickoff report.
Old Spice presents Kickoff. Kickoff is brought to you by Old Spice Stick Deodorant, the deodorant that works overtime.
Gaining respect as a quarterback means proving leadership. It means plotting an offense past a defense. But ultimately, the quarterback draws the focus on the field because he's the one throwing the football. Called by many the finest pure passer in the game, Sonny Jurgensen was blessed with an arm that could throw the perfect spiral, soft or hard, short or long, time after time, with amazing accuracy. He spent his first 4 years with the Philadelphia Eagles backing up Norm Van Brocklin. But he was spectacular in 1961, his first season as a starter, throwing 32 touchdown passes while leading the league in completions and yardage. That magnificent arm had matured, and Sonny's air attacks to Pete Retzlaff and to his favorite deep receiver, Tommy McDonald, almost brought the Eagles another championship. Despite his growing bank of impressive passing statistics, Sonny was traded to Washington, where his career continued to simmer until Vince Lombardi's confidence gave Sonny new respect around the league. And he responded with yet another 3,000-yard season, his 5th, still a record, and ensured his place among the greatest quarterbacks ever to play the game.
It's football league season, and while most people would admit that there's nothing new you can see in football, there are some things that are enjoying a resurgence, like the shotgun formation.
Except for regular usage by Dallas since the mid-70s, the shotgun offense had been in storage since the formation was conceived over a decade earlier by the San Francisco 49ers' Red Hickey.
When we shifted into that spread, the stadium went into an uproar. They didn't know what the heck was hitting them. You know, they just, what is this?
In 1960, Hickey unveiled his shotgun offense against the twice-defending world champion Baltimore Colts.
They thought I was crazy, but we won. You can imagine how the press swarmed my room. And they want to know, what do you call this formation? And I'm an old country boy from Arkansas, and I've been a bird hunter, you know. And for some reason, I just said, well, it's kind of like a shotgun. You just spread out and start firing.
Using the shotgun, San Francisco won 4 of their first 5 games in 1961.
The San Francisco 49ers, the sensation of 61 so far with their 3-barrel shotgun offense, draw 30.
Quarterbacks Billy Kilmer, Bobby Waters, and John Brody rotated on each down, rolling up equal amounts of yards, points, and excitement. But then came week 6.
Nearly 50,000 jam Wrigley Field in Chicago to see if the Bears can spike the famous San Francisco 49ers shotgun, which has scored 122 points in the last 3 games.
They say they put up the defense that beat us. I say it was the worst defense that was ever put up against the shotgun. We did everything wrong in the book.
Beaten 31-0, the 49ers shotgun continued to backfire and lose, and it was discarded before the season even ended. But 14 years later, this risky attack finally resurfaced in Dallas.
At first, it wasn't too accepted by our people. Our quarterbacks didn't particularly like to stand back different than anybody else. But under Roger Staubach, we perfected the spread, the shotgun offense.
Cowboy success in passing situations eventually led other teams to begin using the shotgun offense. And today, nearly half of the league employs the shotgun.
We'd studied the Dallas Cowboys, the success that they had had with it. So now when a defense goes to situation substitution, the 5th defensive back or the 6th defensive back, we're going to situation substitution offensively, getting our 5 best pass receivers in the ball game in a formation where the quarterback can get the ball quicker, he can be set quicker, he can have better vision downfield.
2 decades after Red Hickey invented it, the shotgun offense is doing what it was meant to do all along.
I wanted to open up football, give the fans something to yell for. If I had 3 tailbacks that could run and throw, nobody could beat me. I'd go undefeated for 10 or 20 years.
The 12th New York Marathon is history. The winner in world record time, Alberto Salazar, same man who won last year. His time today, 2:08:13. Jukka Toila of Finland was second. Hugh Jones of England was third. The women's side won by Alison Rowe, also in a record time. Officially 2:25:28. She's from New Zealand. Okay, we turn our attention now to Pete Axtell. You're 14:11. What'd you think of the marathon?
Well, for the 12th straight year, I didn't run in it, Bryant. But, you know, I noticed something that we might be able to profit by, because they go around and they paint this line in the street for the runners to follow all through the 5 boroughs, you know. And I wonder if George Steinbrenner could borrow that machine and paint a line for the Yankee base runners Tuesday night.
I love it. I know that's not your only thought of the World Series.
Oh, no, it's been fascinating. Like Reggie Jackson's performance yesterday reminded me of run-and-gun Cassie Russell with the old Knicks. We used to say that guy keeps both teams in the game.
You do make it interesting, don't you? Let's turn our attention to football just a little bit. What do you like today?
Well, so far, I'm being surprised by one game, not one of my picks, but I thought it was a mistake the Giants were even trying to play Atlanta. I thought there was a New Jersey ordinance that said the Giants never play anybody with a record better than 2-5. In fact, I thought they were playing Rutgers today, but then I remembered Rutgers has to play Alabama every week, so Bear Bryant can get the victory record.
Now you've made everybody in New York City and also down south happy. Why don't you get on with the picks?
Yeah, well, I hope the underdogs are making me happy. The 2 early games we picked, of course, as always, struggles. We have St. Louis +2 over Minnesota, Washington +3 over New England. The 2 late games I like, Miami +6.5 and the big one at Dallas, and Seattle +9.5 against the Jets.
Sounds like a dog day afternoon for you, but let's quickly, before we step aside, speaking of Dallas, Dolphins going against the Cowboys matches the teams with the best interconference record in their respective conferences. The Dolphins against the NFC are 31-5. The Cowboys against the AFC are 26-9. That one's on tap, as are the others, and NFL 81 continues. We go down on the field following these messages from your local station.
Sunday night's a sure winner, starting with a special hour of Here's Boomer.
Because we're looking forward to this game with Miami today because it's going to be a great affair. It's always great to go up against Don Shula, who's an excellent football coach, and we think we're going to have a great game, but Don and I don't have to play it. The players still have to play the game today, but I hope when it's all over with, I'll have not only the 1 lead I've got right now, but I'm going to have a 2-game lead when it's over. So I'd like to introduce here, if not the greatest coach in the business, at least one of the best, Don Shula.
This is what coaching is all about. Hopefully a good day, 2 fine football teams with winning records. The Dallas organization, I've always had a great deal of respect for them, starting with Tex Schramm, but especially the guy that I'm going to be coaching against today. Not only as a football coach, but as a man, Tom Landry.
Don Shula and Tom Landry, 2 of the NFL's all-time coaches. They match their teams, Miami and Dallas, here at Texas Stadium today before another Cowboy sellout of over 65,000 fans. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg along with Merlin Olsen, and welcome to Texas Stadium for what should be a gem of a match. And those 2 fellas sounded like charter members of the Mutual Admiration Society.
Well, they are, Dick. They have a lot of respect for each other, but they're also something else. They're fiercely competitive, as are these 2 teams. And both Dallas and Miami are locked up right now in tough divisional struggles.
Well, let's take a look at the standings right now. First in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins are in first place, a game and a half in front of Buffalo, and Buffalo having its troubles with Denver at home today, so it could be a chance for them to make hay.
Philadelphia leading over Tampa at the moment. Dallas was hoping that Philadelphia would stumble. They would have a chance to catch the Eagles today.
And of course, the Dallas Cowboys and Eagles play again next week in a key match. Interesting season. They both won their first 4. Then they both stumbled 2 games in a row and were embarrassed 2 weeks ago before rallying last week. So these 2 teams are on the same course.
They certainly are, and depending heavily on the talents of 2 young men on the field today. The Miami Dolphins lost their only game when David Woodley was on the sideline. He's back on the field today, wearing a flak jacket to protect some sore ribs. But Shula describes him as a young quarterback with fast feet, a strong arm that can win.
Fast feet, that sounds like Tony Dorsett.
Well, it certainly does, and Dorsett has really done a great deal to help that Cowboy record. Their defense has been down a bit, passing game down a bit. Dorsett is off to his greatest start ever.
And 2 great coaches, Landry 1 victory ahead of Don Shula going into this one today.
50 years ago.
The producer of NFL 81 is Don Ohlmeyer. Today's show was produced by David Stern, directed by Bob Levy, technical director Sal Nagita, associate producer David Neal, associate director John Filippelli. Coming up next, and the Dolphins in a matchup of quality. Don Shula, just one regular season win behind his opponent today, Tom Landry of the Dallas Cowboys. And these teams, as you've said so often, Merlin Olsen, do take on the personalities of their coaches.
And these two coaches have as much respect from their players and from their competitors than any two that I have ever had a chance to be around. They also know how to get their teams ready to play, and I think we can look forward to a very tough, very physical football game today.
The Dolphins have won the toss. Fulton Walker deep to return as Rafael Septien will kick it off for Dallas. The Cowboys have won 13 in a row regular season here at home. And in contrast, the Dolphins have beaten NFC teams 13 in a row, so something will have to break today. Fairly short kick. Walker at the 12. And the rookie is down at the 29-yard line. Anthony Dickerson, number 51, made the tackle. The Dolphins take the field with young David Woodley at quarterback, the second-year man from LSU, and his offensive backfield reads this way. Tony Nathan and Andra Franklin, the rookie from Nebraska. Duriel Harris, Jimmy Cephalo for the injured Nat Moore on the outside with Ronnie Lee, the tight end. The offensive line, Giesler, Kuchenberg, the veteran, Dennard, Newman, and Lasso. That unit, that five-man offensive line, now has been together 18 games in a row, and Don Shula feels they're really molding into a fine unit. From the 29, Woodley, deflected. And D.D. Lewis very nearly had an interception as that ball bouncing in the air, and Nathan was the only one who could get a hand on it. Ed Too Tall Jones with that fly swat play for the Cowboys, and here's the defensive alignment for Dallas. Too Tall, Dutton, Randy White, the all-pro at right tackle, and Harvey Martin, the leading sack man for the Cowboys. Mike Hedman on the left side, Bob Brunig in the middle, D.D. Lewis, the oldest Cowboy, on the right side. The backs, the sensational youngster Everson Walls, 6 interceptions. Dennis Thurman on the other side. Michael Downs, a rookie, and veteran Charlie Waters. They call it Charlie's Angels because of the youth of that defensive backfield. And of course, Charlie Waters, the veteran, guiding them. Big fullback Andra Franklin gets only 3 yards before John Dutton puts a shoulder into him. And it'll be third down and about 7.
I think if you ask Tom Landry what his greatest concern is about his football team, he'd talk about his defensive backfield. It's a makeshift backfield with 2 rookies in the game. The last time the Dallas Cowboys put a rookie in their defensive backfield was back in 1970. A young man started at safety then for them, back there in the defensive safety position. They've got 2 out there right now, and Clippy Harris would turn over in his grave if he saw 2 rookies on the field at the same time.
Third down. Woodley finds Cephalo and a first down at the Dallas 47. As they work on the youngster Everson Walls, a 20-yard gain.
One of the reasons that Walls has so many interceptions, he gets a lot of chances. And obviously, the game plan today from the Miami Dolphins will be to test both of the young rookies in that secondary. And here you see an excellent pass. Cephalo with surprising speed, deceptive speed. And he's also got 2 of the softest hands in football. Did a fine job of containing that football. Big first down for the Miami Dolphins.
Out of the eye, Andra Franklin and Tony Nathan. Now they shift. Tony Nathan. Out of bounds at the 46 after a 1-yard gain. It was Walls, 24, coming up from the corner to make the tackle. Second down for Miami. Now let's go to New York and NFL 81.
This is Brian Gumble in New York at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Bills have just beaten the Denver Broncos. With 1 second left, Nick Mickelmeyer making good from 35 yards through the uprights. Buffalo 9, Denver 7. Let's go back to Dallas.
Oh, that's a big field goal for the Buffalo Bills. Thank you, Bryant. They're trying to stay within a game and a half of Miami. Harvey Martin can't make the tackle. Woodley. He's down at the 42 of the Cowboys. Instead of a 5-6 yard loss, Woodley gains 4.
One of the things you try and talk to defensive ends about is not going over the top of that quarterback. Harvey Martin will be coming from the top of your picture right there. Watch him go right over the head of Woodley, who ducks down, lets Martin slide by, and then uses his running skill. Gets out. You see the flak jacket, see the bulge under his jacket? I got to believe that that hurt just a mite, because those injured ribs are on the right back side of Woodley's chest. Probably pinched a little bit when he went down there, Dick.
Third down from the Dallas 42. Anthony Dickerson was in the backfield almost at the time that Woodley took the snap from center.
The only man on the Dallas team that can go 10 yards quicker than Anthony Dickerson is Tony Dorsett. And you see what that kind of acceleration speed can do for a linebacker. He was back there ahead of the quarterback.
He must have been guessing on the snap count as he just leaped over the center and grabbed him by the backside.
Well, also tremendous agility. Mike Ditka says that's the most gifted athlete on this entire Cowboy team.
Tom Oros, the free agent punter from Ohio State. James Jones at the other end for Dallas. It's a short kick. 16-yard line. Jones faked himself right off his own feet, and he's down at the 20. Steve Shull, number 52, and 40, Mike Kozlowski, made the tackle, a 33-yard punt. Danny White, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and here's the offensive set for Dallas. A game behind Philadelphia starting play today. Tony Dorsett, his best start ever, and of course he's been sensational every year. Ron Springs, the fullback. Tony Hill back in the lineup. Butch Johnson for the injured Drew Pearson. Billy Joe Dupree, the tight end. With Donovan, Scott, Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper, the Irish connection on that offensive line. We'll talk about Rafferty, who's had to move to the center spot. Both Dallas centers injured this year. Dorsett. And on the first play from scrimmage, Dorsett reels off 16 yards.
Tony Dorsett, we talked about him earlier, how much Dallas depends on his quickness. Look at the great balance as he just flies over the top of that intended tackle, streaks downfield. Big game, big pickup for them. That helps to get off on the right foot offensively.
Dorsett, the leading rusher in the National Football Conference with 772 yards. Big average this year, 5.7 a carry. Much this time, just a couple of yards before number 73 Bob Baumhauer, a 6'5" giant nose tackle, can make the stop. Here is that Miami Dolphin defense with Betters and the veteran Dan Herter on the outside, Baumhauer over center, Brudzinski from the Rams, Ernie Roan, H.A. Dewey, Larry Gordon, the set of linebackers, Don McNeil after an injury back in at left corner with Gerald Small on the right side, and the Blackwood boys from Texas, Lyle and Glenn, the brother safety combination at center. A screen to Dorsett. Great blocking. And he fumbles. And Miami has it at the 42-yard line. Gerald Small picked up the loose football, number 48, after a fine gain of 20 yards.
Excellent play acting on the part of the quarterback, but also a fine run by Dorsett. Unfortunately, you gotta hang on to that football.
We welcome those fans who have just seen an exciting finish as the Buffalo Bills on a late field goal beat Denver 9-7 here in Irving, Texas Stadium. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen. No score. Miami took the kickoff, marched into Dallas territory, then had to punt. And Tony Dorsett has just fumbled after a 20-yard run with a screen pass. Miami recovering at its 42. Woodley outside, and that's Duriel Harris. After slipping a tackle, he's to the 43-yard line. Mike Downs made the stop, a 14-yard gain.
Miami Dolphins operating without Nat Moore, but they do have their bona fide Duriel Harris. Watch the quickness of Harris. He's going to slip away right here from 32 Thurman and get downfield, wisely electing to go to the ground as the traffic gets a little fierce.
With that Buffalo victory, Miami needs a win today to stay a game and a half in front of the Bills. So a loss to Dallas, and Buffalo would be just a half game back in the AFC East. Tony Nathan, and he burrows to the 39-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6. No score, 9 minutes left, first quarter here at Irving, Texas. Let's go to Bryant in New York.
Dick, out in Oakland, the Raiders have drawn first blood in their rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mark Wilson, a 6-yard strike to Morris Bradshaw, point after his good. The silver and black of Oakland out in front of Kansas City, 7-love in the first. Dick?
All right, Bryant, the Raiders, after that 3-game shutout scheme, trying to pick up their 2nd win in a row. Franklin, the fullback, moves out on a wing. Fake to Nathan. Intercepted by Walls. And he's to the 38-yard line. That's the 7th interception of the year for Walls, tying the Dallas rookie record.
What amazing reflexes by the young rookie. This pass really zipped. And watch Walls, that ball on top of him before he can even have a good shot of looking at it. Just springs up and leaps out of there. He wants some extra yardage.
Time Miami pass receiver Nat Moore, not in uniform today. He's in the role of cheerleading for Harris and Cephalo and company. So turnovers. And now it's Dallas's turn at its 38-yard line. That's Butch Johnson in motion. Great time for White. Drew Pearson out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Check that, Butch Johnson with a catch, and Ernest Roan made the tackle.
Johnson in this game to do what Pearson normally does. Pearson jammed in the eye last week against the Rams, spent a couple of days in the hospital, and Johnson getting a chance to start and taking advantage of it here. Little crossing pattern, and the critical thing here, Danny White has all day to throw that football. And that's what he'll do with it if you give him that amount of time.
Beautiful throw as Johnson has his 17th catch of the year, a 30-yard pass play, and Dallas with its deepest penetration at the Miami 37. No score, first quarter, 8.5 minutes left. Dorsett. And a solid hit at the 34-yard line. Betters and Roan double teaming on that tackle.
Ernest Roan probably playing better than any of the linebackers on that Miami team. But you can see the problems that both of these teams are going to have if they give the opposing quarterback time to throw the football. Both of these secondaries have had problems during this season. Miami has benched one of their safety men, Don Bessalou, put in Lyle Blackwood, who is a journeyman at best, and they've had to bring McNeil off the sick list to try and shore up that corner position. They need to get a rush on the quarterback.
Dorsett. Finally out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Just another first down for Dallas as Dorsett put on more moves than a belly dancer. Just kept jaking to the outside and using the great speed.
He leaves an awful lot of defensive players wondering where he went. Gifted athlete that has really learned to perform consistently under all kinds of situations.
Dorsett already with 32 yards rushing on just 4 carries from the 23 of Miami. Time it's Ron Springs with a carry and nothing at all there. Bob Brzezinski, number 59 from Ohio State, acquired by Miami from the Rams, was the key man on the tackle.
Brzezinski, by his own admission, has had 2 horrible games back to back. Really couldn't understand it. He is a gifted athlete, and he is a very tough competitor. Extremely frustrated as at his performance these past 2 weeks. Would like to get over it today.
Drew Pearson, the all-time Cowboy pass receiver, is in the game. They use 3 wide receivers. Pearson far left, Johnson in the slot left, Tony Hill to the right. Draw to Dorsett, and it was read well by the defense. 75. Doug Betters got a piece of it, and Brzezinski made the tackle, but it was Betters who slowed down Dorsett.
And an excellent reaction by 73 Baumhauer coming out from the nose. Betters has certainly improved at that end position. big, strong bull on a pass rush and probably plays the run better than anyone on that defensive line except Baumhauer.
Said bettors from Nevada, Reno, they said they gambled when they picked him. It was a good roll of the dice for Miami. 3rd and 9 out of the shotgun. Danny White. Wide open. Jay Saldi and a first down inside the 10-yard line. Yards on the play.
Saldi, a very versatile tight end, has not caught many passes the first half of this season. Talked to him yesterday. He said, I think maybe I'm going to get him the second half of the season. Well, he gets a big one here all by himself. One of the linebackers just dropping a coverage. No one there to tackle Saldi until he's out of bounds.
We welcome those fans who have just seen the Redskins beat the New England Patriots 24-22. Texas Stadium, the first serious threat of this game in the first quarter. 6:20 remaining. Dallas first and goal. Dorsett. Finally out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Don McNeil, 28, spearheaded the defensive charge.
The offensive show in this first half, all Dallas. Tony Dorsett rushing extremely well. Danny White 3 for 3 for 55 yards.
Dorsett now 38 yards rushing. The great Heisman star out of the University of Pittsburgh. He rushed for at least 1,000 yards all 4 years at Pitt. He's rushed for 1,000 yards all 4 years with Dallas. That's an all-time NFL record. First 4 years, always over 1,000. And he's well on his way again this year. He's over 800 already, counting that today. Two tight ends, Saldi and Dupree, along with Cosby. They use a 3 set, and Ron Springs bolts in for a touchdown.
Billy Joe Dupree coming to the inside as a blocker, a trap blocker. Watch Springs duck in behind the block right there and just explode into that end zone. He's been their favorite in short yardage situations. He shows you why on that play. An obvious mix-up, short yardage, or on the extra point here. The wrong people on the field.
Still 18 seconds on the 32nd clock as Rafael Septien out of Charlie Waters' hold to try the point after. Clock down to 9 seconds. Septien, the leading scorer in the NFL. And with 1 second left, he nails it. 8 plays, 62 yards, and the Cowboys are on the board first. Timeout at Texas Stadium. 6 minutes, 10 seconds left. First quarter. Dallas 7, Miami nothing. The Cowboys take the early lead 7-0. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen at Texas Stadium. A very impressive drive.
Very impressive. It's obvious the Cowboys have worked to eliminate the sloppiness that hurt them last week, even though they won that game against the Rams. Tom Landry was not a very happy coach.
Septien's kick taken by Walker, and he will not take it out. Walker, who returned 90 yards for a touchdown earlier this year for the Dolphins in a game against Buffalo. So Septien does his job well. Boy, he's on quite a run. 17 out of 18 field goal attempts this year. Ben Nagachanian, his coach. Ben has put on the market a new book called The Kicking Game that uses Septien as the model.
Pretty good model. He's also been nursing a sore groin, and some feel that perhaps the fact that he has not been able to kick at full strength has helped him to concentrate on the fundamentals and thereby gain more consistency as a kicker.
Like a pitcher with a sore arm who can't throw as hard has to learn how to improve his control and work on other pitches. Handsome David Woodley, his team behind 7-0. Little reverse, Nathan. Tony Nathan from Alabama gained 7 yards before Harvey Martin can trip him up.
Nathan with a 7.7 average coming into this game, and that is absolutely amazing. And you saw there the kind of foot speed. He's one of the few backs in the NFL that can show you the same kind of foot speed as Tony Dorsett. And you notice the bulge around his waist? We talked earlier about flak jackets. He is also wearing one, also has rib problems and a lot of pain.
Second down and 3. Nathan again. And appears to have enough for a first down. D.D. Lewis, along with Mike Downs, to make the tackle. Nathan, who was a third-round pick in 1979 by Miami. There are 6 running backs: Nathan, Vigorito, Giaquinto, Franklin, Howell, and Hill. You take all of their career yardage in the NFL, and it won't even make a dent in Tony Dorsett's. It's a very, very young group of running backs for Miami. Franklin to the 34-yard line, a gain of about 3. We welcome those who watch the Cleveland Browns outscore the Baltimore Colts 42-28 here on NBC. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen at Texas Stadium. We played to the 4-minute mark in the first quarter. Dallas has scored after an interception by rookie Everson Walls, his 7th of the year, leading the NFL. They marched 62 yards in 8 plays, with Ron Springs scoring on a 5-yard run. Miami, the ensuing kickoff, have taken it to their own 34. We're at second down and 7.
Little confusion.
Timeout call by Woodley. Woodley, who is protecting a cracked rib with that jacket, the flak jacket, and Merlin Olsen had a chance to procure it and demonstrate just what that device and how it is built.
David Woodley are wearing flak jackets today, jackets which will protect injured ribs. Jacket is a hard plastic exterior and a foam and air interior. You can see you can take just about as tough a blow as you want without injuring those ribs that are sore in both cases. You better believe that when you've got cracked ribs, separated cartilage, any of you out there watching this broadcast, listening, know how painful that can be. Well, there's one gentleman, Tony Nathan, and there's another one, Doug Woodley, protecting those ribs. You got to believe that's David Woodley. You got to believe that's awfully tough to go full speed with that kind of pain.
34-yard line, second down and 7. Harris and Cephalo both to the right, and that's Joe Rose splitting left. A draw to Nathan. Randy White, 54, and 50 D.D. Lewis collaborate on the stop, short of the first down. It'll be third and about 3.
Miami Dolphins trying to get that running game going, trying to balance it out as the Cowboys did early, mixing their plays well. But you got to believe that Woodley would really like to get it in the air. He's a specialist in throwing that long ball.
You saw 32, Tom Vigorito, a rookie from Virginia, bring in the play. Nathan, he's at 50 into the Dallas 49 goes Tony Nathan, and a first down. Dickerson and Thurman made the tackle, so the Dolphins crossed up the Dallas defense looking for the pass.
We talk about the explosiveness of Dorsett, and the fact that this man is one who can show the same kind of explosive reaction. Charlie Waters just blown right off his feet, and Tony Nathan knows what to do when you give him that much room. He's going to get that first down and then a bunch.
14 yards for Nathan from the Dallas 49 with the Cowboys in front, 7-0 late in the first quarter. Woodley going long for Cephalo, and inadvertent contact, no penalty, as Benny Barnes, a veteran from Stanford, was covering Joe Rose, California graduate.
Very close to a penalty call by the official, who reached for his pocket and then decided not to call it. Decided it was indeed inadvertent, but that's the kind that can often be called and will often be called on the defensive player.
Barnes, who was involved in that very critical Super Bowl contact that crossed legs with Lynn Swann, and a penalty that was so important in the Steelers' victory over.
And almost Dallas. The same kind of setup exactly, Dick.
Second down and 10. Ronnie Lee, the tight end, shifting left. And it's Nathan running left. Good second effort by Nathan, and he's close to a first down at the Dallas 39. It appeared he had about 3 yards, and finally Brunig able to apply enough pressure to trip him up.
You want to have the feeling that you're right down there in the action? Here you come. Tony Nathan coming right into your living room and showing you the kind of balance as well as strength. He's hit and still manages to stay on his feet for an extra 6 yards. That's the time that you know you've got a great back, when you can watch them make that kind of yardage after that first initial hit, after they should be on the ground.
First down for Miami. 1:45 left first quarter. Andra Franklin. Not much there. Randy White. Bob Brunig there to make the tackle, and plenty of other white shirts to help out after a gain of a yard or two.
Dick, we talked about the secondary, the problems that Landry has there. That means that when you're having problems in a defensive secondary, you've got to put a lot of pressure on your defensive linemen. And they have really gotten some tremendous performance from Too Tall and Randy White and John Dutton and Harvey Martin. They put about as much squeeze on a quarterback as any foursome in the NFL.
Woodley. And a nice catch by Duriel Harris as he rolls out of bounds shy of the 29. That'll be short of a first down, as Woodley is now 4 for 7. Check that. Tony Nathan, not Duriel Harris. And Nathan wearing number 22. And, of course, for you longtime fans of the Dolphins, that 22 worn by Mercury Morris.
Some at home watching might feel that this was a bad throw, thrown low. But actually, that's the best place to put that football. You've got defenders behind the receiver, and that ball thrown low has no chance for anyone except the intended receiver.
Nathan, who came into the game with 18 catches. 3rd and a yard. Andra Franklin stopped, then surged forward, and that's going to be very close. You saw Steve Howell, 36, the other fullback, 230 pounds, lead him through the hole. Bob Brunig, Steve Wilson there on the tackle.
No. It looks a little bit short. It'll be an interesting choice for Don Shula, whether to try for the field goal or try for the first down. Shula obviously looking to see how much it's short. Wouldn't be surprised to see a measurement here.
This would be the 11th play of this drive.
They are going to measure it. I talked to Woodley last night about the difference in his performance now as opposed to a year ago. He has less than a full year of starting in the NFL. And we watched him in his first game against Buffalo almost a year ago now. And I said, how much different is your preparation? He said, well, now, there you see the less than a foot on the first down. He said, there are so many more things that I can see after the snap of the ball, maybe 200%. I said, is that it? He said, no. He said, the amazing thing is the number of things I see before the snap of the ball. He said, I eliminate so many things before I have to worry about what's happening after the snap.
So as he comes up to that line of scrimmage and moves under center, he's going to school. That computer should work. And the Dolphins are going to go for it with 4th and a foot at the Dallas 29. Nathan, he didn't make it. Bob Brunig and number 32, Dennis Thurman, with a tackle, and the defense of Dallas has held.
A gamble by Don Shula early. Nathan looked like he had a chance to spin to the inside there and perhaps get the first down. When you've got critical yardage, you cannot.
7-0 Dallas, late first quarter.
Cumberland, New York, Akil. The Bears have jumped out ahead of the San Diego Chargers. Matsui taking it in from 7 yards out, point after is good. And the 1-6 Bears lead the 5-2 Chargers in the early going. Dick?
The defense stopped Woodley and the Dolphins on that last 4th down try.
We talk about getting square to that line of scrimmage. As soon as he turned, there was no chance for him on that play, Dick.
Danny White. And he finds the veteran Drew Pearson, number 88. Pearson, who is just a handful of catches away from the 400 catch mark in his brilliant career out of Tulsa.
Would appear.
In New York, in Atlanta, the Giants have just upset the Atlanta Falcons. 9:20 in overtime. Joe Danello making good from 44 yards out. The Giants go to 5-3, 27-24 over Atlanta.
Texas Stadium sold out again today, the 38th consecutive sellout here for the Dallas Cowboys, and they are sold out rest of the home schedule this year. Start the second quarter, 3rd and inches for Danny White, just inside his 40. Dorsett tripped up for a loss as they gambled that he might go outside, and 42, Lyle Blackwood, the veteran from TCU, acquired from the Colts to join his brother Glenn Blackwood in the safety spots, made the tackle. First quarter official statistics, very close.
Very close, except for time of possession, in which the Dolphins have a surprising edge. But of course, the big difference in this game, the fact that the Cowboys able to string that long drive together, not make any mistakes, put that touchdown on the board.
And also the fine stand at the 29-yard line. 2 shots by Miami on 3rd and 4th down to make a yard. They couldn't do it. Danny White with Tom Vigorito, and they fake it, and White may or may not. No, I don't think he made it. He did not.
Short. He's marked short. He did that last week. He ran against L.A. last week and then kicked the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, was not penalized for that. I think he has the green light back there, and he may have tried to run just once too often here, although took the bad snap. I think he felt he might have had a chance to have it blocked. He said, to heck with it. I think I can make it on a run. But watch where his knee goes down, right there. And that's the spot they'll mark the football.
At the 39, you see Ken Poole, 78, come in, the rookie defensive lineman. He may have felt that Poole had an angle on him. And a fine defensive play made by the Dolphins as White goes down at the 39, and with it gives Miami the ball. Here's that gamble play by Danny White.
You see the bad snap, and White take a quick look at the top. And let's see who gets in there to make the stop on him right there. Some alert play. Steve Howell, number 36, the man that got over there. A.J. Dewey, 77, coming in there. Ken Poole, 78. But that's alert defensive play. Got to believe that they watched the films of that Ram game last week.
So Miami with a break at the Dallas 39. Good protection for Woodley. Right through the arms of his tight end, Ronnie Lee, number 86. D.D. Lewis was the closest Cowboy. Let's check on the other scores in the NFL today. Buffalo rallied to beat Denver and stays within a game and a half of Miami. Washington, the Redskins, 24, New England 22. So the Skins have won 2 of their last 3. Cleveland outscored Baltimore 42-28. It was Philadelphia over Tampa Bay 20-10. That game was tied at 10 in the 4th quarter. Incomplete. Woodley trying to find Tony Nathan, and again D.D. Lewis on the coverage. Other scores in the NFL. The Giants, and there's an upset over Atlanta, 27-24, and the Giants playing great football. St. Louis beat Minnesota after Minnesota defeated Philadelphia last week in this topsy-turvy NFL year. The Lions outscored Green Bay 31-27. Ooh, look at that one in the 4th quarter. The Saints had the Bengals shut out 17-0. That's the same Cincinnati team that blistered Pittsburgh last week. Oh my, what a year. Third and 10 for Miami. Vigorito slammed into Randy White, and you don't move very far when White hits you.
Randy White had just made a hard move to the inside on his pass rush, and I don't know if he even saw Vigorito until he buried him.
He was playing with Charlie Waters' 3-year-old son yesterday at practice, and just lifting up the young boy, the lad started to cry. I mean, Randy White can't hug softly.
He said, it took me about 2 years to get this kid to say hello to me. I'm going to have to work another 2 to get him to come back.
Oros, who's had great success dropping the ball inside the 5-yard line on his punts, unable on this occasion into the end zone. Dallas survives that gamble on the punt And they'll take over at the 20-yard line, leading 7-0 early second quarter. That blue drape is masking number 20 Mel Renfro, who will join those other great Cowboys, Chuck Howley, Don Meredith, Bob Lilly, and Don Perkins in the Cowboy Ring of Fame. Will be honored at halftime today. Dorsett gains about 4 or 5 yards. Tony Dorsett, who was named in this past week by the Custom Tailors Guild as the best dressed athlete. Alexander Haig, Mikhail Baryshnikov, and Don Rickles was named the best dressed comedian. I got to talk to him about that.
Well, I don't know. I think his teammates, they don't care how he looks as long as it gets it into the end zone. He can wear anything he wants to wear.
Looks very good then. Yeah. Second down and 6. Tony Hill to the left. Butch Johnson to the right. Ron Springs, who, by the way, wearing number 20, that was Mel Renfro's number in his great all-pro years here with the Cowboys. It's 3rd and 5. Larry Gordon made the stop for Miami.
A number of the great Cowboy players here to help honor their teammate Mel Renfro. I had a chance to visit with Lilly and Perkins and Howley among others just before their broadcast. Must be 25 or 30 of their players here to help honor one of their own. I think that's a nice program that's been started here by Tex Schramm. Good way of recognizing some of the past heroes of this great Dallas organization.
Danny White has been perfect thus far. Again protected well. First down, Ron Springs at the 32. Don Besselou made the tackle. A perfect throw by White.
Talking about rebuilt secondaries, the need to get pressure on a quarterback. The reason that Danny White is perfect is that he has had time to throw the football and has made the most of it. Throwing there to his backs. Both of these teams mixing receivers well. They don't just throw it to the wide receivers anymore. The backs get just as many as they do.
Well, in fact, Springs, you saw, had 24 catches coming into this game, is the leading receiver for Cowboys this year. White to Tony Hill, and another first down at the 43-yard line. The thrill, Tony Hill, an All-American at Stanford, 11 yards on that catch.
Tony hurt a good part of the season. Really gives them some added punch. When you have 3 wide receivers of the quality that Dallas can put on the field in that kind of situation, you better have some good defensive backs to cover them.
First down at the second quarter, 11 minutes left in the half. 7-0 Dallas. Springs on a screen. Broke one tackle as Gordon unable to bring him down, but was secured by Baumhauer, 73, who chased the play from his inside position. Bob Baumhauer, 6'5", and he's not the prototype at all of that nose guard. He's as tall as any man playing that position.
I was talking to Mo Scarry, who's the defensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins. He said the interesting thing about Baumhauer is even though he's a big man, he gets down low to the ground. I'm sure that Tom Landry respects the performance of that big nose tackle, too. They have not made much yardage up the middle. They've been outside a good part of the day.
Second down. Camper was in a hurry, but it was Dorsett with the ball, and he's wrapped up by Larry Gordon shy of the 50-yard line. It'll be about 3rd and a long 3. You see the 51s on the back of the helmets of the Dolphins, and most of you know by now, but that's in memory of their teammate Rusty Chambers, who was killed in an auto accident in July last summer. And they have devoted themselves to their teammate Chambers in this 1981 year. Third and a long 3. Drew Pearson comes in. He and Johnson are both to the left with Hill to the right. Again, good protection. White struggling, trying to lurch forward for the first down. It's going to be close. From this angle, it appears to be short. Ernest Roan, 55, got him from the ankles.
Landry with a little longer 4th down situation than Shula elected to gamble with earlier will kick it away, playing the odds here, not willing to take a chance with that 7-point lead, and rightfully so. He has the advantage going early here.
Leading 7-0, the dean of NFL coaches. Landry has White back in punt formation. Tom Vigorito is at the 10-yard line for Miami. Beautiful kick. And it's going to go out of bounds as they mark it around the 10. No, actually not quite that good. The 13-yard line. It'll be Miami's ball when we return. The Dolphins trailing the Cowboys 7-0, second quarter. Statistics. The officials have not been a factor in the game thus far.
And that's a drastic difference. Cowboys last week, 15 penalties, 11 in the second half, and there were 2 that were refused.
That's Miami, always right at the top and least penalized team.
Least penalized in the NFL last year and again this year so far.
Trailing 7-0. Woodley goes to work. This is Andra Franklin, and he belts his way out across the 20-yard line. A good gain on first down before Mike Downs, the rookie from Rice, can make the tackle for Dallas.
Franklin came into this game really a running blocking back and is getting a chance to do a little running. They fire Nathan to the outside, get a little bit of action out of that Cowboy defense, and Franklin is showing you the kind of power that he has. Tremendous leg and hip power. The blocking, of course, very important on the front wall. Ed Newman, number 64, the guard who cleared the way for him, gave him a little room to come up in there.
Second and short. Nathan doing a good job of spinning away from pressure, and he has a first down at the 27-yard line. D.D. Lewis, the oldest Cowboy, and Mike Downs, one of the youngest, teamed up on the tackle. Downs is from Dallas.
A great battle going on between number 67 Bob Kuchenberg and 54 Randy White. White just leaping out of his stance trying to get to the inside. Kuchenberg stripping him to the ground. It obviously did not pay for White on that occasion because it made room on the outside for the run, and they got good yardage on the play. Nathan down at the 27-yard line after a yard gain or so. It was again Mike Downs. It's interesting about those 2 free agent rookies in the defensive secondary for Dallas. Downs and Walls, 26 and 24, both picked as a free agent. Both are Dallas natives, and here they are contributing to the team and a rebuilt back line for Dallas. And playing one of the most complicated defenses in all of football. The tendencies and the computer book that they use to prepare themselves for games. I don't even think those 2 youngsters know how complicated this defense is yet. Between them, they have 10 interceptions already this year. Woodley, he's had a man wide open. Was he inbounds? Yes, at the 40-yard line. Cephalo, and that was a touchdown if Woodley could have led him a little farther, as Walls was caught about 10 yards away from the receiver, and only because it was thrown short was that not a touchdown. We just talked about the 2 rookies. Everson Walls, what a great year he's having, but it looks like Cephalo just fools him on that play. Gave him a little wiggle to the outside and blew by him. Woodley threw that ball a little short. Watch Cephalo. Watch the move to the outside now that's going to freeze Walls. Little dip to the outside, and Walls lost contact momentarily with him. Now, if that ball had been thrown ahead of Cephalo, it would have been a foot race for the goal line. You saw Walls, as soon as the move was made on the replay, slap his hands as if to say, uh-oh, he got me. And it was a 31-yard play. 7-0. Dallas leads Miami at the Cowboy 40. Woodley. Option play. That's a free ball. And alertly knocked out of bounds by Nathan, and it remains in the Dolphins' possession. Mike Hegman, who's been out of the lineup since the opening game against Washington with a broken arm, is going to be the man who forces the pitch here. The Cowboys haven't had to work on this since they played in the college all-star game, but that's the old college option. Now watch Hegman. I think Woodley will think twice about calling that play again. Actually, the coaches on the sideline are the ones that call it. I think they may reconsider. Especially with that cracked rib. Hegman had that big touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Steelers in Miami. Nathan
Nathan, the only remaining back. 2nd and 11. Wide open. Duriel Harris. And he's all the way to the 10-yard line. Mike Downs, the rookie, makes a tackle. Another 31-yard gain.
Ernie Statner, defensive coach for the Dallas Cowboys, said, we'll know right away what they're going to go after. The Miami Dolphins pick your weaknesses and they come after you. They've obviously decided they're going to test Everson Walls, and Duriel Harris with a brilliant move. Walls have been beaten deep. They come back and beat him short, and Duriel Harris gets the extra yardage.
As Woodley goes to his 2 outside receivers, Cefalo for 31 and now Harris for 31 yards. Steve Howell gets about 5 yards. The Dolphins could make a first down without a touchdown. They're about 10 yards and a foot from the goal line at the start of this 4-down series. Downs and Brunig made that tackle. So Howell with 5 yards. He played at Baylor, replaced Larry Zonka in 1980. Same college backfield with Craig Hawthorne of the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, Ronnie Lee, the tight end for Miami, number 86, was also on that Baylor team. Woodley. Touchdown, Tony Nathan.
You saw the tight end move from one side to the other. They're trying to get D.D. Lewis isolated on Tony Nathan. They knew they would force him in the coverage to go after the back, and that's a mismatch. D.D. in his last year with the Cowboys has lost a little of the speed that made him such a great linebacker early in his career, and they burn him for 6 right here.
Harris was deep in the end zone, drawing his own attention from the defense. 8 plays and an 87-yard drive. Von Schamann to try the extra point. Hits the upright, no good. Von Schamann, who had connected on 70 consecutive point after touchdowns, kisses the upright and it deflects, no good.
Interesting. The extra points are no longer gimmies. This one hits and bounces the wrong way for the Miami Dolphins.
On the board again, Mark Wilson, his first rushing touchdown of his career, 3 yards in, making it Oakland 14-0 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now let's go back to Dallas. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
Thank you, Byron. An 87-yard drive authored by the Miami Dolphins in 8 plays. 2 key 31-yard passes to Cefalo, and Harris set up the 5-yard touchdown to Nathan. Deep in the end zone to Ron Fellows, rookie from Missouri, and he'll take the touchback. So Von Schamann had a lot of adrenaline into that kick.
I was just going to say, he took out all his frustration from that missed kick, and it was a good snap and a good hold. I'm sure he just kicked it foully, and he took all that pain out on that football.
It's an interesting story. Came here from West Berlin at the age of 16, and he and his mother started from New York, took a bus to Memphis, had no more money, and hitchhiked, mother and son, from Memphis to Fort Worth, Texas, and that's how they started here in the United States. Dorsett and Springs behind Danny White. Dupree, who was in motion, then curled over the middle, gains 5 yards on that throw from White. And Danny White is now 8 for 8 passing. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KXAS-TV, Channel 5, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Texas Stadium on a gray, cool 57-degree afternoon. Dallas Cowboys scored in the first quarter, and Miami's countered with a touchdown here in the second period. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. Missed extra point, the difference. Tony Dorsett accelerating outside to the 39-yard line, and a Dallas first down. Lyle Blackwood pushed him out of bounds.
Dorsett coming in behind Donovan, Scott, and the good blocking right there of number 20, Ron Springs, who threw the last one to spring him. You don't have to get number 33, Dorsett, much room. He'll be out of there. Watch Scott pull at the lower part of your screen. Number 68, Scott, going right there into the nose of A.J. Dewey. Dewey unable to get to the outside to be of much help on that play.
Scott was named All-Pro last year. His nickname is Pooch. Players say looks so cuddly. Play action by White, and he's going long for Hill and almost intercepted. Don McNeil played that brilliantly. Little contact over there, but McNeil recovering well to get in position.
McNeil, coming back from a hamstring injury, has shown us some fine speed. They've tried to get him a couple of times deep, running well there, and it looked like, well, Hill was reaching for the football, but he did make contact with McNeil. Again, the official thinking about the possibility of a penalty. That's twice the Cowboys have escaped on possible interference from the offensive side.
And that was the first incomplete pass thrown by White. He's 8 for 9. Second down. Kim Bocamper, 58, comes in. Then Herter out in a pass situation for Miami. Dorsett. 42, Lyle Blackwood came up to make the tackle, but not until Dorsett had reeled off another gain of 10 yards.
The Miami Dolphins playing situation defenses. They send number 58, Kim Bocamper, into the game as a pass rusher. They're playing for the pass, and Danny White flips it out to his main man, Tony Dorsett, who says, hey, we're not going to pass, we're going to run it, and we're going to pick ourselves a first down if we can. He almost got it. They're going to have a third down and just about a foot and a half to go.
Mike Kozlowski, number 40, comes into the defensive backfield for Miami. Dorsett all the way to the 35-yard line. What a move by Dorsett.
When it comes to running the football, there is no substitute for speed. Dorsett just started up into the line, saw an opening to the outside. Now watch the acceleration. The vision right there to see the opening at the outside, and then the quick acceleration. He's around that corner before anyone could get out there to challenge him.
And of course, it's been well publicized that when Dorsett gains 100 yards, the Dallas Cowboys invariably win. They've lost only once when he has gained 100. He's up to 83 already in this first half today. Play action by White, in trouble. Doug Betters makes the play. 75 Betters logs the first sack of the game.
A big sack, too. It appeared that White had a chance to duck inside. Elected instead to continue to retreat. Watch it yourself. Now, Betters is being forced to the outside by number 61, Cooper. It looks to me that if Danny had stepped up right there, although he did have pressure from the other side, he might have avoided that sack. You wonder why it's not a fumble? The whistle had already been blown.
And Betters forces fumbles in the last 8 years, Merlin, or last 3 years. He's forced 8 fumbles and very close to one there. Down to the 2-minute warning, and White. Did he call time?
I think he's looking at that 30-second clock. He's had some problems. They had 3 penalties last week for taking too much time. They spent this whole week trying to avoid that kind of penalty. I think Danny White either saw something he didn't like or that 30-second clock was running out on him. Didn't want to be penalized.
So a 2:02 remaining right at the 2-minute warning. The Cowboys spend one of their timeouts.
Tom Landry, all during this week, was sending the plays in practice. Was frustrated at the inability of their offense to get the plays off on time and wanted to make sure they didn't have that problem this time. The man in the hat there, the cap on the left-hand side of your screen, Bill Arnsparger, former head coach, New York Giants, and Shula's trusted defensive aide. And I'll tell you, both of these coaches have incredible staffs.
We welcome those of you who have watched a major upset today. The New Orleans Saints beating the Cincinnati Bengals 17-7. Well, it's just so difficult to understand some of the scores week to week. After Cincinnati with that tremendous victory over Pittsburgh last week, we're down this week. There's Bill Arnsparger, former coach of the New York Giants. After being a lead assistant for Shula, has returned home to Miami, working under Shula, and they're quite a team, aren't they?
A fine team. They don't understand what happened to their defense. So they started so well, and then they went into a 3-game tailspin, gave up 990 yards passing, 10 passing touchdowns, and they finally are getting their act back together. They got their hands full with Dallas today.
2nd and long for the Cowboys, who lead in the game 7-6 from the Miami 49. Down the middle. What a catch by Drew Pearson at the 25-yard line. And this is a man they didn't think would play today. He was poked in the eye. Last week was in the hospital a couple of days earlier this week. That ball looked like a sure interception, and Pearson grabbed the ball and took the hit and held on close to a first down. The 2-minute warning, a 1-point game. Less than 2 minutes left. Dallas leading Miami 7-6, and a tremendous effort by Drew Pearson on that last play.
The thing that separates wide receivers aside from speed and moves is concentration. Watch the concentration on the ball here. He'll be hit just as he touches the ball right there. Glenn Blackwood just levels him on the spot, but he would not take his eyes off of that football. Another replay of the same shot. Now watch it here. Smashed as he gets his fingers on that ball, but won't give it up.
Blackwood couldn't believe that he didn't have the interception. 3rd and 1, and Springs going to be close. They may have to measure. Center that Miami defense making the play.
It'll all depend on where they mark that football, and the officials are standing perhaps inside of where that first down would be marked.
Early in the game, for those of you who were not with us in the first quarter, Miami had 2 shots with less than a yard to go at the Dallas 29-yard line, and the Cowboys held them on downs.
Would be interesting to see if Landry, given the same situation, would also go for the first down here rather than to try the field goal. Certainly no advantage to punting the ball from there.
Well, he's got a man who's been hot, Septien, in case he has to go to the field goal. Septien has a Dallas record 9 in a row, and he's missed only 1 of 18 this year. Let's see if it's going to be even a factor.
And that one from 40 yards out. He's been deadly.
It's short. Going to be short.
Yeah, he's short. Well, Mr. Shula decided to go for it.
Texas Stadium. We're in the final 2 minutes, and the Cowboys are going to go for it.
Their fans like that here. You hear them firing up. I wonder if they'll feel the same way if they don't make that one.
4th down and inches. The Cowboys lead by 1, trying to get more. 1 minute, 40 seconds left. First half. Dorsett, first down. Tom Landry gambles, and when you have a Tony Dorsett, he makes a lot of those chances look mighty good. And Dorsett gives the Cowboys a first down at the 21-yard line. The clock is running, 109, 108. Remember, the Cowboys used 1 timeout in this first half, have only 2 remaining.
You saw Landry saying, let's pick it up, let's move it, let's get it in the end zone.
He's going. Touchdown, Butch Johnson. One to Butch Johnson for a Dallas score.
Don Shula, you saw the look of frustration. Obviously a very happy sideline. Dallas pleased at getting that additional 6 points. They'd like to get the extra point here and go in with an 8-point lead at halftime.
Septien adds the extra point. And the Cowboys have a 14-6 lead.
Butch Johnson has been the most productive receiver on the Cowboys staff throughout the first half of this season. Again, the discipline of that inside route, but a perfect pass from Danny White. Johnson did what he had to do. Sucked it in and did his little dance.
55 seconds left in the half. Playoff Willie Nelson. And the Cowboys have brought the sellout crowd to its feet with a touchdown. Less than a minute remaining in the half. 14-6 the score. And Septien again drills it to Fulton Walker, who will not take it out. Let's go back to the touchdown and follow Butch Johnson. Danny White appeared to see a little seam in the zone, and Johnson made a little adjustment himself. And a perfect throw just beyond the defender, Gerald Small, 48, and into the arms of Johnson for the score. And then the California quake.
The other thing that Danny White did was to look the defense off, looking first to his right and only coming back when he was ready to fire that football.
21-yard pass play. First touchdown today for Danny White. Woodley with 55 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. He's 7 for 12 passing. 1 touchdown, 1 intercepted. He's only been intercepted 3 times all year, counting the one today. Screen. Tommy Vigorito goes out of bounds with a first down at the 31-yard line. He got a little help from the umpire.
He had all he could handle to get that football. Looked like he was going to run right over the top of the umpire. Good play by Vigorito. Watch it now at the bottom of your screen. As that ball is thrown, you'll see Vigorito coming right into the picture, and he's going to catch that football right on top of the umpire, who does manage to get out of the way. Good play by Vigorito.
And Tom Hensley, the umpire, to get out of the way of that contact. 5 seconds to gain 11 yards. Vigorito heading for the sidelines, and that saves a timeout as he gains 5 more out to the 36-yard line. Dennis Thurman, number 32, the former University of Southern California star, made the play.
Thurman, really a safety who has been moved to cornerback because of injury problems. Called one of Charlie's Angels, but he is a veteran player, but has played most of his time at safety rather than at cornerback. Done a good job for the Cowboys.
Said he gained 10 pounds. He's up to 180, and really glad he has all that meat now.
He needs it.
Woodley. And Rose makes a juggling catch at the 50-yard line. Joel Rose, number 80, 32. They're not using a timeout, surprisingly, and they've got 3 left. And finally, call time with 29 seconds left. What a play by Rose.
Woodley under tremendous pressure from White on that play. Put it on target. Now watch the juggling act here. Again, great concentration.
Actually, the ball thrown behind him. He used the left hand to bat it in the air to himself, and a first down at midfield. 29 seconds left. Furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Woodley to Cephalo. Out of bounds. No catch. 23 seconds left as Woodley had a man open, but let him out of bounds with that throw.
No, that was out of bounds.
Winding down to the final seconds. Cephalo has to get 2 feet down in bounds. Watch his feet. Both clearly out of bounds. No chance on that one. Dennis Thurman there to give him a little bump.
You saw that statistic on Dorsett, 23-1. The Cowboys, when he gains 100 yards rushing, well, he's only 17 from that in the first half today. And Dallas indeed leads 14-6. Time running out on Miami. It's a screen to Nathan. And Anthony Dickerson. There's not many linebackers that could make that play, but Dickerson, the second fastest Cowboy, and was able to track down Nathan at the 45. Timeout Miami.
Foot speed important in 2 directions. Randy White giving Woodley all the pressure in the world. Woodley's quickness allows him to get the pass off, but watch the acceleration of Anthony Dickerson. Leaped right off his feet. We told you earlier, the only Cowboy who can beat Dickerson in a 10-yard sprint is Tony Dorsett.
Reminds me a bit of young Thomas Henderson when he was with the Cowboys with that 9.7 speed.
Right.
Speaking of Tom Henderson, we'd certainly like to wish him continued recovery. Of course, he became a member of this Dolphin team, earned himself a spot on the roster after having a lot of problems and overcoming them, and says he's going to come back and play for Don Shula.
Dickerson, who is a licensed florist, or is that the antithesis? A football player on Sunday, and he waters his petunias on Monday.
Well, he's going to earn himself a starting spot if he keeps playing like that. very difficult for a linebacker, and they talk about the difficulty of working into this defense. The Cowboys have always believed that the best way to get people into that lineup was make them earn it, put them through a period of probation. And Dickerson is doing exactly that, playing mostly on passing downs right now, but certainly showing the kind of skills that will earn him a job very shortly.
Just 12 seconds left in the half. Woodley would like to at least get the Dolphins in field goal range. Fumble. Harvey Martin forced the fumble. Woodley recovers with 8 seconds left.
Martin coming around the outside with those long arms, able to reach back and snatch the football right out of the hands of young David Woodley, working on John Gessler over there on the left-hand side.
It reminds me of a play way back. Leon Hart with the Lions, and I think it was against the 49ers. The 49er quarterback reared back to pass, came around the backside, took it right out of his hands, and went for a touchdown.
Kept right on going.
We followed boxer Johnny Bumpus. It was our pleasure to call one of his fights as a Golden Glove champion and Olympic trials champion, and now as a young pro. He gets a title shot. He'll be fighting Willie Rodriguez for the USBA Junior Welterweight Championship next Saturday on an NBC Sports World exclusive at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll also see on Sports World aerial athletes testing their skills and the tricky wins. Sierra Nevada National Hang Gliding Championships. That's all next Saturday on NBC Sports World. Well, now with 3 seconds left, Miami can go for the long pass and just hope that they might get a ball deflected and a cheap touchdown, but it's desperation time now. That last play was the key. Woodley was trying to get 15 yards or so and get Von Schamann a chance at a field goal.
They will either choose to go for that desperation play, or they may just choose to run out the clock here with that much time. I think they'll go for it. Schill is a gambler. He already proved that early in the first half here, going for the 4th and less than a yard. The gamble that backfired on him. Landry came back, made the same kind of gamble, and it paid off for him. And that's kind of the story of this first half, isn't it, Dick?
The fact that the Cowboys have taken advantage of their opportunities. And, of course, the missed extra point could play very importantly in the outcome as Von Schamann hit the upright. So from the Miami 44-yard line, they moved from 3 seconds back to 8 seconds. It's 4th down and about 17. Now it's conceivable the Dolphins could get a first down if the man gets out of bounds and still another play. But they line up as Shula, looking at the clock, points to the scoreboard. They have all 3 men, Rose, Elmer Bailey, and Cephalo to the right, Duriel Harris to the left.
Shula wants an explanation of the clock. I think what he's saying is if he'd known there were 8 seconds, he may have elected to punt the football away rather than 3 seconds.
Now it's 5 seconds.
Now he's going to punt it. Now he doesn't want to give the Cowboys a chance to have a play, and I don't blame him. They figured they could eat up 3 seconds before they threw the pass, but they might not be able to do that with 8 seconds.
Obviously then Dallas would get the ball to 44 and would have a chance at a long field goal. So Oros apparently will punt it away. No one back for Dallas, so that ball just trickling down and will help Oros's average for the year as they'll let it go right to the 1-inch line. In an incredible first half where not a single penalty was called, the Dallas Cowboys of the NFC have the lead over the Miami Dolphins of the AFC. At the intermission, it's 14-6.
Look out, boy. Sunday night's a sure winner, starting with...
Welcome back to our NFL 81 studios in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We're winding our way down through the first half of this NFL season. This is Sunday number 8, so we've got some scores to pass along to you. Let's give you the finals right now. Starting with a game played at Rich Stadium today in Buffalo. There, the Buffalo Bills came from behind, and in the final second, upended the Denver Broncos. Final score was 9-7. Early on in the ball game, Craig Morton got the Broncos their only score of the ball game. This first half action, 37 yards up top to the man who's become his favorite receiver, Steve Watson. It was his 10th touchdown catch of the year. Had the Broncos in front 7-0, but a Mickemeyer field goal made it 7-3 at the half. Another had it 7-6 until 1 second to play in the game. Mickemeyer makes good from 36 yards out, and the Bills go to 5-3, as do the Broncos. Final in that ball game, 9-7. The New England Patriots played the Washington Redskins today at RFK in a driving rain, and it was the Redskins who turned the tables on the Patriots. Both clubs now with records of 2-6. Ron Earhart's troops were out in front 6-0 on a pair of field goals when Joe Theismann went to the air and hit Joe Washington to move the Redskins in front 7-6. The Patriots got that right back. Tony Collins on a 6-yard touchdown run, following good blocking, made it 12-7. After a field goal moved New England out in front 15-7. Before the half ended, the Patriots kicked away, and Mike Nelms took the ball at his own 25, eluded a couple of tacklers, found an alley, and with that went 75 yards for a score, bringing the Skins to within a point at halftime. The teams came back out for the second half. It was all Redskins. Joe Theismann on a broken play going in from a yard out to make it 24-15. All Sam Cunningham could do was make it close with a touchdown from the one. The Redskins a winner 24-22, beating the New England Patriots. The Cleveland Browns picked on what may be the worst defense in the National Football League. That's the Baltimore Colts. They allow over 32 points a game through 7 Sundays. Today they gave up 42 to the Cleveland Browns and lost their 7th straight. Final was 42-28. You want to see a strange play? Look at this one. Mike Wood tries a field goal. It bounces away. Reese McCall, he knows he's got bad hands, so he laterals to Robert Pratt, who knows he can't run. So he throws it over to Greg Landry, who runs it in for a touchdown from 20 yards out. But that one made it just 28-14. Burt Jones got the Colts a little bit closer at 28-21, but that was before Brian Sipe continued his heroics. A touchdown here to Ricky Feature made it 35-21. Jones threw a touchdown strike, his third, to make it 35-28, but Mike Pruitt's run proved the breathing room 42-28. Brian Sipe had a great ball game against a very bad Colts secondary. Sipe's numbers on the day: 30 of 41 for 444 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Browns a winner, 42-28. The Philadelphia Eagles lost their first and only of the season last week. They rebounded a big way today at Veterans Stadium, turning back the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a very tight ball game, closer than the score would indicate. The final was 20-10. Doug Williams, who threw for 243 yards in the day with a 1-yard touchdown right here, moved Tampa Bay in front 7-0. But Ron Jaworski got that back quickly, hitting his tight end Keith Krefley to make it 7-7. It remained that way through much of the game before Tony Franklin in the 4th period hit a 32-yard field goal to make it 10-7. The Eagles added a touchdown in the final moments. Final again, 20-10. The New York Giants are for real. They upended the Atlanta Falcons today in Georgia in the rain. Final in the ball game in overtime, 27-24. Steve Bartkowski got the Falcons off and winging by hitting his fine tight end, Junior Miller. Down south, they say it's Miller time when this happens. Number 80, watch him rumble. Big man out of Nebraska, 3rd-year player, taking it all the way, touchdown. Bartkowski threw for 301 yards in the day. But the Giants special teams got them back into this ball game. Frank Marion blocks a punt right here. Mike Dennis recovers in the end zone, 7-7. Atlanta was in front 14-7 at the half. But then the Giants moved in front 24-17. Phil Simms to Johnny Perkins. After the Falcons tied it to send it into overtime, Joe Danello, with just 5:20 left in the OT, hitting it from 40 yards out through the uprights. The Giants turned back the Falcons 27-24. Big surprise in St. Louis. There, the Cardinals moved to 3-5. They upended the Minnesota Vikings. Final in that ball game, 30-17. Jim Hart threw for 2 touchdowns in that ball game, giving him 200 in what has been a very, very fine career for that veteran. Green Bay against Detroit. The Lions continue to win with Gary Danielson sideline. Eric Hipple once again the star. The Lions beat the Packers in the Silverdome final 31-27. Hipple 20 of 36, 271 yards, and he ran for 2 scores besides throwing for another. The Lions are 4-4. The Packers drop to 2-6. And Cincinnati Bengals, they got sandwiched in between a big game last week against the Steelers and perhaps looking ahead next week to the Oilers. They went down to the Superdome today and lost to the New Orleans Saints. Final in that ball game, 17-7. George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner, over the 100-yard mark in rushing for the 5th time this year. You are caught up on the finals of Sunday number 8. For an update on the rest of the scores, let's go back to the ballpark.